Hey guys, good morning. I'm getting ready to meet some friends at a exit where there's a Love's in Jackson, and we're going to head I-40 east through Nashville and into the Knoxville area. We're going to be staying at an Airbnb in a small town of Townsend, and we're going to be riding the Smoky Mountains for about 3 days. Day to get there, day to get back, 3 days of riding. So I'm looking forward to it. It's still dark this morning, but getting ready to get on the road, and I'm glad you all joined the ride.
It's time once again to travel to East Tennessee and ride the Great Smoky Mountains. The Smoky Mountain Harley-Davidson dealership is having their second annual Bike Week rally in Maryville, Tennessee. We had beautiful weather for our ride to Maryville. We met up with other chapter members at 2 different Love's gas stations off of I-40. We traveled through the city of Nashville, which surprisingly was not very busy. You never know what to expect with the traffic through Nashville, but this day we were lucky and traffic was moving well. We stopped in Crossville to eat lunch, visited with the owner briefly, and finally arrived at the Smoky Mountain Harley-Davidson dealership. It was nice to finally get off the bikes, have a few drinks, and a visit.
Yes, I am drinking a beer.
The dealership had a very nice setup where they have outdoor concerts and an indoor-outdoor bar called The Shed. We had a nice visit and a chance to wind down after a 6-hour day of riding. We left the dealership and traveled to the town of Townsend and ate dinner at a place called Peaceful Side Social. The food was good and we sat outside to visit. After dinner, we rode to our Airbnb located in Townsend. Ryan secured this Airbnb for our group. It was a nice 3-story house out in the country that was peaceful and had all the amenities you could ask for. We started our day with a leisurely morning at the Airbnb, giving us time to eat, catch up with each other, and get ready for the adventure ahead. Maneuvering the driveway was a bit of a challenge each morning, but nothing we couldn't handle. Once we were all set, we met up with the rest of the HOG Chapter members in Townsend, with a few joining us from nearby Maryville. This allowed us to ride together as a group, 10 bikes strong. Our plan was to conquer the Cherahalla Skyway and the famous Tail of the Dragon. Ryan, who had plotted out our route, led the way. As we set off, the Smoky Mountains were shrouded in their usual morning fog, a cool mist that lingered until the sun began to burn it off. It's one of the things I love about riding in this area. The mornings are always wrapped in fog, cool and mysterious, before the warmth of the afternoon sets in. The Cherahalla Skyway, a breathtaking 43-mile highway, climbs over 5,400-foot peaks, winding through 18 miles in North Carolina before descending another 23 miles into Tennessee's dense forest.
The old Smoky.
We made a couple stops at the overlooks along the way, where the fog drifted through the valleys below, adding to the sense of grandeur. Next up was the Tail of the Dragon, an intense 11-mile stretch of road with 318 hairpin curves. starting in Tennessee and ending at Dills Gap in North Carolina. Dills Gap is a biker's haven, with a cozy general store where you can grab a meal, spend the night, sip coffee, and swap stories about your ride. I've tackled the Dragon many times, but it's always best to hit it early on a weekday when the road is quieter.
Yeah, we got right where you were following the lake and all of it. Hey, it got pretty interesting. Yeah.
We stopped to take our annual photo at the iconic Dragon statue. And of course, we had to check out the Tree of Shame, a sobering display of broken bike parts from those who didn't make it through unscathed. After a few more hours of riding, we stopped for lunch at the Iron Grill in Tellico Plains, nestled right next to the Tellico River. The food and service were solid, a perfect pit stop before hitting the road again. We rode for several hours, eventually winding our way back to the dealership for some drinks and to reflect on the day's ride. As the evening fell, we grabbed our dinner to go and returned to the Airbnb, where we settled into the quiet night, enjoying the peace after a long, exhilarating day on the road. We got an early start this morning for our ride to the Appalachian Museum, with Jimmy leading the way after carefully planning out the day's route. Our first stop was a Smoky Mountain Harley-Davidson dealership to meet up with the rest of the group.
How about it, Jim?
Hey, morning, Bill.
Part of our ride included the Devil's Triangle, a thrilling stretch of road filled with sharp curves and sweeping turns that kept us all on our toes. The ride to the museum was smooth and enjoyable, offering beautiful views along the way. When we arrived at the Appalachian Museum in Clinton, Tennessee, we were treated to a unique experience.
Are we each paying individually? All right, here's our price list.
Okay.
You're an adult or you're senior? Or you're a senior? Okay. Well, you're going to be $18 today.
Hard to tell what time it is when there's no sun. After exploring the exhibits, we stopped at the museum's Country Cafe for some classic Southern Appalachian cooking, which didn't disappoint. The ride back to the dealership was just as enjoyable, taking us through several scenic hours of open road. Once back at the dealership, we spent a bit more time hanging out before making our way back to Townsend to wrap up a memorable day on the bikes. We started off with beautiful weather this morning as we headed out to the dealership to meet up with the rest of the group. There was a slight hitch when one of the event organizers didn't like where we had parked, and she was managing crowd control. Luckily, Jim worked his charm and convinced her to let us stay put until our whole group was ready. By the time their conversation wrapped up, he had her on our side and we were set to go. The day's plan was to ride to the Smoky Mountain Speedway in Maryville for some thrilling motorcycle dirt track racing. Before we left, we had time to browse the many vendors set up at the dealership, showcasing everything from gear to bike accessories. Jeff had a minor issue with his bike, but after getting it sorted out, he couldn't resist doing his happy dance, much to everyone's enjoyment. With Jimmy leading the way, we rode to the Speedway. Entry was $15 each, and once inside, we found good seats to watch the racers tear around the track. You know how much it is, Gary?
$75.
15? Depends on who you ask. Jim says $75.
He's paying for everybody.
Thank you. Good job, Ryan.
Thank you, sir.
Did we put it in?
Oh.
Yeah, it's sticking in my hair and everything.
Oh, you're gonna have it sticking on your hair.
Well,
You're
that's my
the one
fault,
that
not
does.
yours.
Okay, you two. It's always mind-blowing to see these riders pushing their bikes up to 100 miles an hour on a dirt surface. The races were exhilarating, keeping us captivated from the time we arrived around 10 in the morning until late in the afternoon. After the races, we rode back to the dealership to spend our last evening together as a group. While the chapter headed to Black Horse Brewery in Maryville for dinner, I made my way to Alcoa to meet my son and daughter-in-law at Chapouline's restaurant for dinner, since they live in Knoxville, which is very close to Alcoa. We had a wonderful visit, which was always too short, and I was able to get back to the Airbnb just before nightfall, ending the day on a perfect note. We set out early this morning, long before the sun rose, aiming to reach home by noon on this peaceful Sunday. I took the lead for the ride back, which was smooth and uneventful. The crisp morning air made for a cool start, but as the hours passed, the warmth of the day slowly crept in. Despite the simplicity of the journey, it was a fitting close to one of my favorite rallies. This rally has so much going for it. Year after year, the weather is just right. You start to see the first hints of fall as the leaves begin to change, and riding through the stunning Smoky Mountains is always a highlight. The scenery alone is worth the trip, but what makes it even better is how close it is to Jackson, Tennessee, where many of our chapter members live. This always guarantees a great turnout, and riding together with friends through such a beautiful setting is hard to beat. There aren't many events that offer the perfect combination of friendship, ideal temperatures, and breathtaking mountain views. It's a rare kind of experience, one that reminds me of how lucky we are to be able to share these moments on the road. Thank you, my friends, for allowing me to capture these memories, and a special thanks to God for watching over us and keeping us safe. Until the next adventure, I pray you all continue to ride safe out there.